Breaking. Diddy's case just took a shocking turn as his mother testifies against him. Before you watch, hit like and subscribe right now for the most explosive updates. The courthouse was packed. The weight of the case had rippled far beyond the marble pillars of the federal building. It had shaken the entire music world. Reporters swarmed outside. Fans held signs both in support and condemnation. And inside, the air was dense with tension. Sean "Diddy" Combs, once a titan of hip-hop, fashion, and business, now sat behind the defendant's table in a sleek gray suit, his expression unreadable. His attorneys flanked him, whispering legal jargon he wasn't really hearing. His eyes were fixed on the double doors at the back of the room. He knew who was about to walk through them. When the bailiff called the next witness, there was a noticeable shift in the room. Cameras clicked, heads turned, even the judge leaned forward. "Call to the stand, Mrs. Janice Combs." The double doors opened slowly, and there she was, Diddy's mother. Janice Combs, elegant even in her late 70s, entered with the quiet gravity of a queen. Her silver hair was pinned neatly, her tailored navy blue jacket spotless. But it was her eyes, sad, heavy with years of love and disappointment, that silenced the room. Diddy inhaled sharply. His hands, clasped in front of him, tightened. She raised her right hand, swore to tell the truth, and took the stand. The prosecutor stepped forward. "Mrs. Combs, thank you for being here today. We understand this must be difficult." Janice nodded. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was steady. "Yes, it is. Could you tell the court, in your own words, when you first became aware of the allegations surrounding your son?" She took a long breath. "I started hearing whispers years ago. Rumors, stories. Women would come forward, then disappear. There were payouts, hush money. I asked him. He denied it every time. Said it was people trying to tear him down. I wanted to believe him. I needed to." The room was silent. "Did you ever witness anything firsthand?" the prosecutor asked. Janice hesitated. "Yes, once. It was 2003. A young girl, barely 19, was working as a stylist. She came to me in tears. She said Sean had forced himself on her. I confronted him. He laughed, said she was trying to get rich. But I saw her face. I saw her bruises. I knew." Diddy lowered his gaze. His jaw clenched. The defense attorney rose, objected. "Your Honor, this is hearsay." The judge overruled. "This is testimony." "Proceed." Janice continued. "That day changed something in me. I started to look more closely at the parties, at the people he surrounded himself with. Girls were passed around like drinks. I tried to speak to him, tried to get through, but he shut me out." The prosecutor's voice softened. "Why didn't you come forward before now?" She looked toward her son. "Because I love him. Because I carried him in my body for 9 months. Because I raised him alone when his father was murdered. I worked 3 jobs to put food on the table, to give him a future. And when he made it, I thought he had escaped the darkness. But he became it." Diddy's shoulders trembled. His eyes were wet. The courtroom watched as one of the most powerful men in the world unraveled, not from evidence or cross-examination, but from the voice of the woman who gave him life. The prosecutor nodded. "Did you ever fear for your safety?" She laughed sadly. "Not until I started speaking the truth. Last year, someone broke into my home. They didn't take anything, just left a note. Blood is thicker. I knew what that meant." "Did you report it?" I knew it wouldn't help. But I made peace with what I had to do." The defense attorney stood. "Mrs. Combs, Do you understand that your testimony could destroy your son's legacy? That you are testifying under oath against your only child? I understand, and I pray every day that God forgives me, but I will not protect evil with my silence. Diddy's head dropped. For the first time in the weeks-long trial, he looked human, vulnerable, broken. His attorney touched his arm, but he didn't react. His mother's words echoed in his ears. I will not protect evil with my silence. As Janice stepped down from the witness stand, her footsteps echoed in Diddy's ears like thunder. Each click of her heels against the floor was a sentence passed, a bond shattered. He didn't look up. He couldn't. The prosecution rested its case that afternoon, but nothing they said afterward carried the same weight. The jury had seen evidence, heard dozens of testimonies, former assistants, bodyguards, ex-girlfriends. But it was the testimony of Janice Combs that shifted the entire atmosphere. She wasn't just a mother. She had been a silent pillar of the empire, the quiet matriarch who had kept the brand, the man, and the myth intact. And now she had dismantled it all with 3 words. I knew better. That evening, back in his holding cell, Diddy finally let the walls crack. For hours he sat alone, fists clenched on his knees, replaying her voice in his head. No reporters, no camera flashes, no curated persona. Just the echo of betrayal. Or was it truth? He remembered the girl from 2003, the stylist, her eyes swollen with tears. He remembered brushing it off, laughing like it was nothing, like he was invincible. But now, the throne was gone. The mask was slipping. The next day in court, the defense made a feeble attempt to reframe the testimony. Mrs. Combs is an elderly woman, understandably emotional. We argue that her memories may be colored by personal disappointment or manipulated by the prosecution's narrative, the lawyer said, gesturing dramatically. But the damage had been done. Then came the final surprise. The judge allowed one more rebuttal witness before the defense closed. And when the name was announced, a ripple went through the courtroom again. Justin Combs! Diddy froze. His son, his pride, his firstborn. Justin, dressed in a simple suit, entered from the back and made his way to the stand. He glanced at his father, just once, and then turned away. The prosecutor approached him gently. Justin, you are the son of Sean Combs, correct? Yes. And can you describe the nature of your relationship with your father over the years? Justin's jaw tightened. It changed a lot. When I was younger, he was fun. He was the hero, the guy everyone admired. But when I got older, I saw things. I started noticing the women, the drinking, the violence behind closed doors. Did you ever witness him abuse anyone? Justin nodded slowly. I saw him hit Cassie once. I was 15. We were backstage. She had said something about wanting to leave the label. He slapped her across the face and told her she'd never work again if she walked. She stayed silent after that. Gasps filled the courtroom. And how did that moment affect you? Justin looked down at his hands. It destroyed something in me. I started realizing who he really was, and I started hating myself for loving him. From the defendant's table, Diddy closed his eyes. A single tear slipped out. No cameras captured it, but it didn't matter. The people that mattered were watching. The defense tried to cross-examine Justin, but the words bounced off a wall of conviction. His answers were firm, unshaken. A son holding the mirror up to his father. When court adjourned for the day, the courtroom emptied in a hush. Outside, reporters screamed for statements. Inside, Diddy sat still for a long time. I didn't think she'd really do it. He finally whispered to his lawyer. Your mother? The lawyer asked. Diddy nodded. She said she prayed God would forgive her, the lawyer offered carefully. Diddy smirked bitterly. She still believes in forgiveness. I stopped doing that a long time ago. That night, Janice was escorted home by federal officers. They asked if she felt safe. She shook her head. I'm not afraid of him. Not anymore. I'm just afraid of what he became. The final day of the trial arrived under gray skies. Rain tapped lightly on the courthouse windows like a quiet warning. The gallery was even more packed than before. Some came for justice. Some came for spectacle. Some still clung to denial. But the jury didn't. 12 men and women filed into the courtroom and took their seats with solemn expressions. They had deliberated for less than 6 hours. That was all it took. Diddy sat upright. His face was blank, but his fingers trembled slightly on the polished wood of the table in front of him. He scanned the room. No sign of his mother. No sign of Justin. No sign of the loyal friends who once followed him everywhere like shadows. Only silence. The judge asked the jury foreperson to stand. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict? We have, Your Honor. In the matter of Sean Combs, charged with multiple counts including assault, coercion, and unlawful confinement, how do you find the defendant? The foreperson looked up. Guilty on all counts. It didn't matter how expensive Diddy's lawyers were. It didn't matter how many millions he'd donated to charities, how many artists he had launched, or how many awards lined his shelf. In that moment, none of it could save him from the truth that had finally clawed its way to light. There was no outburst, no tears, no shouts, just a long silence as the room absorbed the weight of the verdict. Then Diddy whispered something, barely audible, just a few words to himself. She really did it. After court adjourned, reporters surged to get reactions, but Janice was nowhere to be found. She had left the courthouse an hour earlier through a private side door, escorted by U.S. Marshals. Her testimony had been explosive, but her silence after was just as loud. She sat in a quiet kitchen that evening, sipping tea from her favorite mug, her Bible open in front of her. The house was dim, the rain outside steady. She hadn't turned on the television. She didn't want to see the headlines. Her phone buzzed once. A text from Justin. Thank you, Mom. I know that wasn't easy. She didn't reply. She simply looked up at the ceiling and whispered, I did what I had to. In his cell, Diddy sat alone again, this time stripped of everything. No phone calls, no entourage, no noise, and yet her voice echoed louder than ever in his mind. I will not protect evil with my silence. He tried to convince himself it was betrayal, but deep down, he knew the truth. It was love, a brutal, necessary kind of love, the kind that breaks a man to save his soul. For the first time in decades, he wept, not for his reputation, not for his empire, but for the boy he used to be. The boy who once promised his mother he'd make her proud. Now, all he could remember was the look in her eyes on the stand. Not angry, not vengeful, just tired. So tired. And in that cold silence, Diddy finally understood the cost of everything he'd built, and everyone he'd broken along the way.